and loaded. Truth on my blade, every line's exploded. You swing your words, I counter with precision. Battle of reason, this is my mission. Raise your fist, let them know. No, raise your voice, let it blow. Woo! We clash our swords of reason. Cut through like no retreating. Yeah. No fear, no chain, no treason. Woo! We clash our swords of reason. We clash our swords of reason.
Welcome everybody to Swords of Reason right here on the SpeakeaZy show every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. Today's debate prompt: are people downplaying the seriousness of the Epstein files and the allegations involving Trump? On the affirmative tonight, we have Pep Talks, a new face to the Swords of Reason arena, but not new to debating. He's known for breaking down news and politics with a sharp insight and a dose of comedy. You can find his channel right here on YouTube in the description below. And tonight he's coming to test his ideas against the negative side here. We got JS Urban Adventures, a familiar force in the debate space. He's known for hot topic breakdowns, political discussion, debates, UFC fight reviews, character impersonations, and even Bible studies. All right, his channel is also linked in the description. And we're going to move right into the opening statements, and we're going to start with Pep Talks. So Pep Talks, whenever you're ready, I will start up the timer with your voice. And again, thank you both for being here tonight.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate you guys doing this. Yeah, I'm Pep Talks. Nice to meet everybody here. I am I'm the token lefty for the debate tonight. But I am over on my side, over on YouTube and Twitch. I like to platform pretty much all ideas as long as people are respectful. That's kind of my big thing, is just keep it respectful. So yeah, with the Epstein thing, I gotta say I'm a little surprised that we're even debating this tonight, because I thought that it was kind of like a at this point common ground that we all agree that, you know, Epstein's a creep. He needs to go down as just that, being like the quintessential creep that he is. And I think that anybody that he was, you know, hamming it up with, or anybody that is being protected, needs to be outed. Like, it's kind of weird when and I don't say this lightly, that QAnon was onto something with that, you know. And I was one of those guys that was like the many ears on the left that, you know, we turned away from that. Didn't really pay it much mind, even though, you know, when Epstein was locked up in 2017, 18 or whatever, and then, you know, Epstein, that's where I kind of saw that was the first time that I had agreement with a bunch of people in my life that are Trumpers or MAGA, where we all came to the same conclusion, where we're just like, nah, this seems like it was a, you know, the powers kind of exercising their I didn't want to call it strength, but their power, I guess. And then with Ghislaine Maxwell going down, I thought that was kind of where, again, we all could find the common ground, where you started having bipartisanship. You also had MTG kind of do her thing, which we saw where that led. And this is where I want to make sure I'm not in a bubble. And that's why I was interested in doing tonight's debate, is because I kind of want to know where people are coming from with this. And, you know, if we do not agree, then yeah, we might not agree. But I think that we can all agree that, you know, pedophilia is bad. Especially in the light that he had over 1,000 victims, you know. And this idea that we are not releasing these files, or haven't been releasing these files because they needed to do the redactions of the victims, I still think that's the most egregious lie about everything, where it's like, no, they're the only people they're redacting are the rich and powerful that are listed, you know, in the Epstein list. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
All right, thank you for that opening, Pep Talks. And with that, we're going to move it over to JS's opening. JS, whenever you're ready, I'll start the timer up with your voice.
One sec. One sec. Just writing a note. Okay. All right. So I'm ready. The Epstein files are a farce, and you all fell for the okie doke. The prompt of this debate is a difficult one, but in essence, that is what I'll be arguing today. People are not downplaying the Epstein files. People like my opponent are upplaying them. As the negative position, I don't need to argue this. Instead, I just need to demonstrate that most people have not been downplaying anything, but have instead stayed hyper-focused on a nothing burger from the start. A lack of action, an abundance of reaction to all information released so far, and a bipartisan political chess game with no winners or losers, being played with no end game beside the manipulation of public perception, are two of the reasons I believe the Epstein files are not as impressive as most people think, but rather a distraction. My main focus in this debate will be destroying any unfounded accusations made against President Trump, but I may have to concede some points in this debate from the onset. The potential CIA, Mossad, and KGB and MI6 connections, which I would agree are being downplayed by most, are extremely important if true, but lack any real evidence, and no publicly released files will ever prove said connections. As far as outcomes, results, prosecutions, arrests, indictments for anyone, but specifically any legal actions against Trump that may come as a result of these files, I will not be downplaying anything, but simply telling the truth. Everything that has been released so far has already yielded the only real outcomes we will ever see. Ghislaine is in jail and Epstein is dead. We got flight logs, we got documentaries, we got books, we got pictures. The story is not a secret. Everything has played out, and more information disseminated to the public will do nothing to change that. Besides over $380 million in payouts to victims, and Prince Andrew being stripped of his royal titles, and Epstein dead, these files have not and will not lead to anything. They won't lead to Stacey Plaskett being arrested for conspiring with Epstein against Donald Trump. They won't lead to investigations into Bill Clinton or Larry Summers. These files won't lead to investigations into anyone once released, because anything related to ongoing criminal investigations will not be in them. This debate was planned prior to Trump signing a bill to release the files, but I'm sure that won't be enough for the TDS impaired once they see that nothing comes from them besides political finger pointing and pleas for more files from low energy protesters until the midterms. Speaking of political finger pointing, I would also call out the blatant double standard of the Democrats, who seem the most enraged by the current administration's handling of the Epstein files. Both sides have had access to these files and the ability to release them for years. Since the 2019 arrest of Epstein, Trump has had them for about 3 years, and Joe Biden had them for 4 years. My opponent may see this as a MAGA talking point, but it is a talking point for a reason. Why weren't the files released under the Biden administration? The Biden FBI and DOJ, who were weaponized against Trump relentlessly in the lead up to the 2024 election, didn't use his secret convictable crimes from the files against him. With all the lawfare, impeachments, and charges brought against Trump in order to prevent him from running and being elected, why did they hold on to these damning files when they had them? Why did they not use them against the creeps in their own party with close connections to Epstein? I will concede half of this debate right now if my opponent agrees that Democrat association and complicity in all of the Epstein-related cases are being dramatically downplayed by likely complicit Democrats.
I can agree with that.
All that said, and slight concessions made, allow me to explain where you will get no concessions. I think throughout this debate, we may end up coming to a lot of agreements unless I hone in on one aspect of the prompt, Donald Trump. Today, you are dealing with a true Trumper, not some MAGA flake who turned on our boy because he didn't release all of the Epstein files on day one. After Russiagate, 2 impeachments, 34 charges brought in New York relating to falsifying business records in a hush money case. Remember Stacey Plaskett, who I mentioned earlier? She was directly involved in that one. Election fraud charges in Georgia, which were all dismissed last week, by the way. How can anyone still believe in these witch hunts and Democrat hoaxes? These files are no different. The left cries about Trump not releasing the files. 2 weeks ago, Trump signed the release of the files. The left calls Trump a pedo while blatantly ignoring their own party's implications. After the 23,000 emails dumped under the Trump administration, we see more of the same. False allegations, twisting words for lawfare, witch hunt after witch hunt, and yet Donald Trump is still your president. Let me take a moment to go through some of the recent emails, which are leading to the newest slew of allegations against Trump. On 4/2/2011, Epstein wrote to Ghislaine Maxwell saying, "The dog that hasn't barked is Trump." Redacted, which is Virginia Giuffre, we know, spent hours. That's, by the way, that's a name that's redacted of a victim, but we know who the victim is. Spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned, to which Ghislaine replied, I have been thinking about that. If Trump had been engaging in sexual acts against the victim, why would that not be mentioned? Why did Virginia Giuffre deny any wrongdoing by Trump? Why did she write in her memoir, Nobody's Girl, that he was a friendly and a gentleman? On 1/31/2019, Epstein wrote to journalist Michael Wolff, Trump said, he asked me to resign, never a member ever. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop. This message not only proves Trump was not involved in Epstein's sex trafficking ring, but was publicly against it. The most egregious email was from Michael Wolff on 12/16/2015 saying, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or in the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. This message is a conversation about how to potentially blackmail or leverage Trump by simply pointing out a visit to his house or a ride on his plane, but with no real evidence of nefarious behavior. The dumbest accusations come from a message sent by Mark Epstein to his brother about Putin having pictures of Trump blowing Bubba. So now the rumor is that Trump is gay, possibly blowing a horse named Bubba or President Clinton. The alleged womanizer is now gay. How long till you accuse him of chasing sweet young boys? A passage from my favorite book says we must not pass along false rumors. You must not cooperate with evil people by lying on the witness stand. All these files have led to his lying on the witness stand. The world's biggest hashtag Me Too, and the dopes have fallen for it. The Epstein files are not being downplayed. They are being upplayed by everyone on both sides, but specifically by TDS-infected lefties. I am ready to lose this debate due to making some bombastic claims that many will have knee-jerk emotional disagreements to, but I really don't care. I'm here to defend my president and prove that weak-minded people have over-exaggerated the Epstein files from the start. I have a lot of questions for my opponent, but my most important question is, what is Trump guilty of that you think will be evidenced by these files? With all that said, I'll cede the rest of my time. Let's get it.
All right.
All right. Thank you for that opening statement, JS. And with that, we're going to get over into the uninterrupted 5-minute rebuttals. So we're going to hand the mic back to Pep Talks. Pep Talks, whenever you're ready, I will start the timer up with your voice.
All right, cool. All right, I've had a few points here, but I'll address that first one. What is Trump guilty of? So this actually is address 2 points that you brought up, because the Virginia Giuffre thing, she's not here anymore. You know, that's just, why did she say that? Don't know. Would love to ask her, but she ain't here to either defend him or even throw him under the bus, because we don't know. My biggest thing is like, okay, what were they doing then? Like playing Nintendo? You know what? I'm a big fan of Super Mario RPG. What can I say? I had to show her what was up. The Mike Wolff thing, I think that was proof that at the very least he was guilty of knowing. And so to answer your question, what is he actually guilty of? It's not like everybody's saying like where he's in the files and his name's in it 1,700 times, that, or the emails at this point, but it's not what everybody's thinking. And at the very, very least, it does kind of come across like he was covering for all of this and knew about it. And the Ghislaine Maxwell getting moved to a federal penitentiary that is club fed, like, I don't know, man. There's a lot there that's just like, why would you do that? And just reasons, I don't know. Like, come on, guys. Everybody makes friends with a known sexual trafficker, and then we just want to do some favors for them for whatever reason. Who knows? The Dem false outrage, I actually, if we're making early concessions, that's one that I can actually make, where that's why I brought up Q at the beginning. They weren't making a big deal about it. They were going and saying that it was all Alex Jones level Pizzagate like kind of stuff, which to give some credence to why they would ignore that, Q goes a little nuts. Like, trust me, I used to be into like the 9/11 conspiracy stuff way back when I was in my early 20s. And yeah, I got out of that when I just realized the government's too effing stupid to really pull any of that kind of stuff off. But when you look at this specific one, this doesn't involve government cover-ups as much as it involves just, we don't want to say this because this could ruin the entire like funding system of every rich person. Not like, I don't know. This is the most evidence that we've had that like there's a dark shadow cabal of billionaires that all get together and kind of do this weird stuff together. You know, like I've been hearing about that from certain communities for a long time. And now all of a sudden that whether he was directly involved or knew about it, they still, like your side at least, likes to go, yeah, well, you know, it's a big deal. When I'm seeing the consensus being, no, most people think it's a big deal. Like this goes beyond politics. And this actually is kind of like one of those class consciousness things where it's just like everybody can kind of see what's messed up about this. And we can also see like Trump didn't do himself any favors by literally having his hand in the cookie jar moment. Just, why are we still talking about the Epstein files? I don't know what's going on here. Come on. Why are we still talking about this? You have to admit that was a little weird. It's just, and then he continues to do it. And then just the convenient cycle of, we get some Epstein news coming out. We get the victims coming out. We get some movement on the files. Also, why, because to your point that he signed the files, then why did he push back so hard to the point where MTG essentially left the damn party? Like, I don't know. That could have been avoided, but he had to push back. He had to make an example of them, Nancy Mace as well. Like, I just kind of feel like there's too many of those questions that I have not heard answered. I hope that my opponent here can answer them. Because I'm genuinely curious where it's like, how can we, like, you talk about TDS. TDS seems to work both ways because I know too many people that are willfully ignoring some just obvious stuff that you would never take from any other person in a leadership position. And to calling us small brain leftists, I mean, I like to think of myself as a critical thinker where I just don't take any authority's position on something and go, yeah, that's it. The witch hunt stuff again, like, I'll agree that during the election, they went a little too hard at him. I've actually covered that on my own show, but it doesn't mean that he wasn't guilty of some of that stuff, which we can all admit, white collar or not, we can't get away with it. Why should he? Like, I'm not about that. So I like holding billionaires accountable in all cases.
All right. Thank you for that rebuttal, Pep Talks. And with that, we're going to hand the mic back over to JS for your 5-minute uninterrupted rebuttal. And JS, whenever you're ready, I'll start the timer up with your voice.
All right. I'll start with some things from your opening. Yeah, Epstein is a creep. I think we would all agree that Epstein was a creep, but he's dead. So unless you're going to go down some conspiracy road that he got snuck out and he's living on an island somewhere with Tupac, Epstein's dead. He's a creep. He's gone. QAnon saying that it's an evil cabal that is sacrificing children and blah, blah, blah. They were on to something in the start. I'll agree with that, but they took it too far. They got infiltrated and they basically got turned into a laughing stock because a lot of those people are very gullible and they'll buy up whatever they're sold. As far as both sides agreeing to it, yeah, that's something I have a problem with. Bipartisan to me is a dog whistle for communism. When everybody agrees on something, the wide road, I typically try to go the other way because that's usually the lie. You're following the lie. Yes, pedos are bad. And as far as the victims, the 1,000 victims, and you said they're redacting names of the victims, but you think, no, they're actually redacting the names of powerful people in the files. If that were the case, why do we have Clinton's name in the files? Why do we have Ehud Barak's names in the files? Why do we have Trump's names in the files?
That's the emails, not the files.
We have, it's a rhetorical, I'm doing my rebuttal. Sorry. You're good. You're good. But yes, those names are going to be in the main files too. They're in the previous files that we had released. They're in the flight logs. They're in the emails. They were able to redact Virginia Giuffre's name from the emails, but they didn't redact Trump's name, but they're trying to cover up for the powerful people. That doesn't make any sense. And then for your rebuttal, you said you would have liked to ask Virginia Giuffre some questions, but you can't because she's dead. Luckily, she wrote a book. She wrote a whole book about this. She wrote a memoir, so you could read it. And then also Michael Wolff, did you read? I read on stream Michael Wolff's 8,000 word report that he never got published because he was scared to get it published because then people would know that he was spending so much time with Epstein. Trump's name's never mentioned in it. Clinton's name's mentioned a lot. Larry Summers is mentioned, some basketball arena owners and stuff like that, and Kings. If you read that, it tells you what Epstein was doing. And a lot of what he was doing was not sex parties on the beach. There was a lot of financial stuff he was doing. He was hanging out with powerful people from all over the world, and he was helping them manage their money and determining what they're going to do with their money. These are billionaires, and he was doing a lot of other stuff too. We just found out recently that he brokered a peace deal between Russia and Syria, and then there was another country. Now, how was he able to do that? Could it have been through blackmail? Possibly. I think there's a lot on the intelligence aspect. When Alex Acosta was asked about Epstein when he was becoming Trump's, it's in my notes, but he said basically drop it. He belongs to intelligence. So we don't have total proof that Epstein was an intelligence asset, but we have a lot of things that point to that. So I think that's an important aspect, but that's not going to be in the files. They're not going to release that stuff to the public. We're never going to know about Mossad and the CIA and the KGB's intelligence operations. They're not going to put that stuff out there. So what's the point of the public crying about the files? You're not going to find out about that stuff.
Why do you say that, if you don't mind me asking?
Hold on, we'll get to it. And then let's see. And then you say, oh, well, Trump knew about it. The email shows that at least Trump knew about it. I said, what is Trump guilty of? I guess the crime he's guilty of is knowing about something bad that was going on, and then you would claim that he did nothing about it, but he did do something about it. Epstein got arrested and died under Trump. The majority of everything that's been released that we know about Epstein so far, and everything that will be released so far, was done under Trump. On the campaign trail, Kamala didn't even attack Trump about the Epstein files. If she's running against Trump last minute, shouldn't she use the strongest weapon in her arsenal? Shouldn't she be going at him about Epstein constantly? But she doesn't even bring it up on the campaign trail. Why is that? I don't think she said anything. And as far as Trump flip-flopping, I would say I would blame Pam Bondi for that. I don't like Pam Bondi. I think she made promises, and then Trump said, yeah, we're going to release them. Pam Bondi said, we're going to release them. We're going to release them. And then Pam Bondi gets the files and she says, oh, we can't release all this. We got information about the CIA and Mossad. We got intelligence in here. We can't release all of this. And so she tells Trump, we can't release it. Now Trump's like, oh, we can't release it. I've got to get the people's mind off this. They're going to be really pissed off that I didn't release the files. So he says, forget about it. It's a Democrat hoax, which I think a lot of it is a Democrat hoax. It's just them.
That a lot of Republicans just happen to be.
I was waiting for you to wrap up the sentence.
Yeah, my bad. I didn't see the
No worries, no
yeah,
worries. It's all right. But great rebuttals from both sides. And before we move into the hour of back and forth, let me talk to the audience again real quick. If you're watching right now, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and subscribe to tonight's debaters. Their links are in the description. And we host all kind of debates here. Politics, culture, ethics, internet topics, video games even. All right, literally anything that reasoning and passion can collide. So if you enjoy the format, make sure you sub up, and if you want to debate, hit me up. I'm more than welcome to anybody debating here. Whenever one of you is ready to start up the open hour floor, I will start the timer with your voice. And again, thank you both for being here.
All right. I actually got a quick question to address your wrap up there.
Yeah.
So you say that Pam Bondi's to blame. Do you really think that? Because, like, again, this idea, and I know that this is using talking points going back to the 2016 election of I only hire the best people. Does that not still apply? Like, how
No,
can
I don't think he
like,
hires the best people.
okay, so we can agree that Cash
That's
Patel
been-
and Pam Bondi are definite. Like, do you think that? But the way that they're getting scapegoated just conveniently for everything, I don't know. I'm a shit rolls downhill kind of guy where it's just like, okay, Trump would still be to blame for that one, because again, with Biden, everything we can agree everything was that guy's fault. So it's kind of like, why not like give him the same kind of scrutiny? Even if you like the guy, you should definitely at least hold him to that, where it's like, yeah, man, that don't make much sense.
That's what I've been most critical. Well, one of the things that I've been most critical on him for is I don't think he hires the best people. His first term, he hired a lot of very bad people. He didn't know the system. I thought maybe the second time it would be better, but
What do you mean he didn't know the system? Come on, man. He hired a bunch of neocons that, like, the first time
he didn't know politics like that.
He guy. What was his name? Ajit Pai. Like, it was, or no, Ajit Pai was he was FCC. I'm thinking of the other guy though. He has a big stake in Hollywood, like with WB. He was the first guy that was using like government planes for his wife and stuff, and it was a scandal for like a hot minute. Steve Mnuchin.
Okay.
But that goes to my point. Like, how come you don't hold him to the idea that it's like, well, he keeps saying it. I only hire the best people, except for these 80 different people that I had to fire. You know what? They weren't so great. My bad.
Yeah. Okay. So he hires some incompetent people. He hires some
a lot. Come on, man.
But what's that have to do with the Epstein files?
For the Epstein files, to blame Pam Bondi and like Cash Patel, when
that's only in relation to the
directives was like to go and scrub his name.
Yeah, that's only in relation to the flip flopping. And one of the first directives was to go and scrub his name. Where do you get that from?
It was like one of the very first stories to come out was the whole like, I'm going to send it to the FBI. And I remember having this conversation with a right winger where they were just like, well, why are you doing that? And then they came out and they were just like, well, we got to redact. We got to protect some people.
The FBI already had it.
But here's the thing. I'll even concede this one. I don't necessarily think it was about Trump. I think it was about his friends. I think that honestly, this goes to him protecting a whole bunch of people that are way more powerful than him. I don't know. It made me into that guy where I'm just like, I don't know. It seems like he's protecting the shadow cabal. That's weird. I'll admit, you guys got me to turn a little on that one.
Yeah, I think the most egregious thing you're going to find against Trump in these files is maybe that he had some business dealings or some investments with some people that were involved with Epstein. You might be right. There could be situations like that, and he doesn't want that to come out. But I see people calling Trump a pedo. I go to protests, and this is one of their biggest talking points. Release the Epstein files. Release the Epstein file. You support a pedo. That's what they say. They're slandering.
Come on.
You think
you're
they
gonna get mad
that?
at like heated rhetoric against a person in power? Like, I'm not sure if you've ever been part of any punk scenes, but that's it. Whether it's a Republican or Democrat, that's always number one, a thing where people are always going to be a little more critical of the people in power. But in general, like, come on, man. MAGA is all about like, fuck your feelings. Facts don't care about your feelings, but at the first sign of like an insult, they're just like, I'm a victim. Come on. You have to admit this.
It's not an insult. It's slander, and people believe it because that's the narrative.
Okay, because calling like the left like a bunch of commies, that's by your logic, that's probably slander. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to say.
You can call me a fascist. I'll call you a commie. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, but at that point, that's me and you pulling the Zoran and buddy move with Trump, where it's just like, it's okay. You can call me it. I don't care. Like,
that's different.
Was hilarious, by the way.
That's different than people buying into hoaxes like the Katie Johnson hoax and believing it and thinking that.
Can you remind me of the Katie Johnson thing? I'm not up to date on that.
Katie Johnson is the girl that and now this is coming back. It's all over Twitter and it's all over the YouTube now. It's coming back, but this was a hoax that was done in 2016, I believe. A girl named Katie Johnson said that she used to go to Epstein's house and Trump raped her. And it was proven to be a hoax. She was using a fake name. There was a guy that helped produce the Jerry Springer show, who,
I mean, if this is all true, then I'll just say that doesn't help anything, especially when you have a bipartisan cause to help the victims, the 1,000+ that are real. Like, here's what I'll say. One scandal or one person coming out trying to get a money grab during a big thing like this, over 1,000 other ones that have literally been confirmed by law enforcement, doesn't say much.
sounds like you're not believing all women and you're downplaying the Epstein files.
Don't use the buzz crap on me. I honestly, I'm not one of those guys. Like, honestly, like, I got in trouble with my own side for questioning that one lady that was accusing Biden, and then it turned out that she was some Russian freaking,
My point is, I agree with you that was a hoax and it should not be believed by anybody. But when the masses believe in it, they're upplaying it. They're hyper focused on all these lies, and they believe in them.
That's politics. Look at what Trump does. Look at the way that he hyperfixated on even the dumbest shit, like, just to get people behind him. Like, my favorite one was the recent hot mic where he was just like, you know what, I say a lot of things, but in reality, we're probably cooked, like, we're not doing well in the polls. Come on. Like, he doesn't say that shit out in real life.
I didn't hear that hot mic, but
oh, that was like 2 days ago, man. He was walking out of one of his cabinet meetings.
Could it be that he's maybe trying to focus on more important things like immigration and the economy and wars across the world?
Yeah, you mean waging them like Venezuela for reasons? Dude, I lived through the 9/11, post 9/11 recruitment era. That was no, dude. I know a blatant freaking like oil grab when I see one, especially when you can't hold water to I'm anti-drugs and then release the Honduran president that was convicted by one of his judges. I'm sorry, that puts a giant hole in that boat.
You're doing a good job of finding 1,000 other topics that we could debate at a future point, but
that's fine.
But as far as
put a pin in it. I'm not trying to. I'm not one of those guys. I will keep it to the Epstein stuff. I am just saying.
Okay. So they're upplaying hoaxes. We've proved that. The Katie Johnson hoax.
Well, there's no proof. I don't know much about it, but I will at least say if what you say is true, then that's fucked up. But like I said, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's not protecting the billionaire friends of his. Because you keep bringing up the whole way that Virginia Giuffre's name was redacted in the email, which I'll even admit that was a little weird, especially if we already knew who she was. Like, that was weird. I don't get it. Like, was that like some editorial decision from MSNBC where they're just like, we need to redact the victims, we must protect the victims now? It's like, but this is public information. Don't care. We need to do this performatively. Don't care. Because again, it's weird. Especially when everybody already saw the email.
And all the victims came out on the White House lawn for their protest. So, I mean, it's not like they're not all of them, but a lot of them. We know the victims. There's been books written about them. So,
a book, Virginia Giuffre's book. Again, this is the problem that I have with her is I'm just as suspicious about her passing than Epstein's, because it's just like, it's awfully convenient that she's one of the ones that had the loudest voice, that definitely had some of the most damning evidence. We cannot deny that. That's why Andrew is now just Andrew. So, it's convenient that she's not here to really speak to it as far as, her being the one with the book. But we, like you were kind of saying, we've also seen the victims coming out en masse too. Like the fact that they have all done a collaboration where they said, and there's enough of them, it's not even the full 1,000. There's enough of them that just said, release this stuff. You cannot redact my names in the files. Just release it, because I want the people who are culpable to be held accountable. That's the bottom line. And it really just, my eyes and ears constantly just see Trump and that. Not even your side, because I'm not going to say that MAGA's even running interference with this. I've had more people agree with me on this than I ever thought I would, where they're just like, no, it is kind of sus, especially the time that he went, why are you still talking about this like a little kid? So many people in my life finally went, yeah, that didn't look good, man. Because that really does look like, I don't. Are you in them? Are you not? I don't know. It would definitely benefit you to just release them all, so you could prove how innocent you are.
I think he knew he couldn't release them at that point, or
oh come
he
on!
thought-
But
he
you
thought
don't
they were
you
going to
don't
be
apply that
released.
same logic to Biden not releasing them before. When with that one, it was like there.
No,
That was still an
nobody
active
even
case.
asked Biden to release them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, it was an active case at that point too, and QAnon they caught like QAnon for all their faults, because they definitely, let's put it this way, it wasn't great for their cause to go and say that JFK Jr. is still alive and going to show up in Dallas and just keep moving that goalpost. That wasn't weird at all, and that wouldn't lose them credibility. Same with the Pizzagate thing. It's just like, but it's total broken clock syndrome, where it was like, okay, so they were actually right about this one. Like,
Okay. All right, but you talked about the victims. They want the people to be held accountable who are responsible.
Mm-hmm.
What does releasing the files do to releasing the files to the public? What does that do to get people prosecuted?
So I do have the answer to this one, because this one you can speak with the court of public opinion. So think about it. If it's the Waltons, then fuck, the Walmart's done. You have so many people that will vote with their dollars. We already do. Boycotts don't necessarily work in like the small scales that we do them politically, but you have a boycott again with everybody in America that just essentially goes like, oh, what are you doing? You're covering for pedos now and you're using our government to do it? I don't think so.
No, because any criminal investigations that are open are not going to be in the publicly released files. So all you're going to get is names.
Why do you keep saying that? Because it's almost like you're just accepting that, like that's how it should be. Like, again, you can look at Pam Bondi, but not look at the fact that it's like, well, then they should, Pam Bondi and Kash Patel should, to prove how they're not, complete, what's the word I'm looking for? Useless idiots.
If you release the filings for criminal that they're looking to prosecute them as criminals, if you release that, then those people flee, those people run, those people know, those people
come
hide.
on, you can't use the same reason that we can't tax billionaires for the reason that they're gonna the billionaire pedos are gonna leave our country.
If you raise taxes,
my heart.
If you raise taxes on the rich, they do leave.
Okay, well, like you said, topic for another day. Why does this pertain to that? I'm just saying, but why does that like? Why does that pertain like the same? Like you understand where I'm going with the logic question on that one, though.
If we're planning on indicting or arresting somebody with a lot of money and a lot of power, we don't want the public to know that we're about to do it. We want to do it secretly. So they shouldn't. They shouldn't release the open investigations.
Then Kash Patel maybe shouldn't do the thing where, like with the Charlie Kirk stuff, I'm not trying to get off topic, but they did it with that, where we had so much information in those first 3 days, and then all of a sudden just radio silence, because it's like, now you got people like Candace Owens questioning the narrative constantly and just being like, yeah, you know what, a 30-06, there's been enough. That's the bitch about doing this to Americans. Enough of us have fired a 30-0 to be like, yeah, that one. That if you were going to take a choice to say what kind of gun it was, I would have gone 22 there, homie. But anyway,
okay, I don't know what you're talking.
I know, I totally still locked there. My bad.
Yeah. Okay, shoot. Where was I? My point is, yes, there's open investigation. What they're going to release publicly is going to be people who just knew Epstein or just casually met him. Maybe they borrowed his plane. A lot of these rich people, they like share their planes. Maybe they rode the plane from Florida to New York. They hitched a ride with Epstein. RFK was
say Bill Clinton did.
Bill Clinton went to the island like 29. I forget the numbers, but
so
he went
did Trump, though.
No, not near as much as Clinton.
It doesn't matter. He still went. So by implication, it's like, well, I mean,
you don't have any evidence that Trump went to the island. You don't have
any evidence that they were playing Parcheesi the same way that Trump was playing some Uno game with Virginia Gouffre. I mean, again, you got to apply the same logic.
There is evidence that Clinton went to the island, and there's evidence that he had Epstein at the White House 36 times. The evidence
there's no evidence about what you're implicating. It's the same way that I was just saying with the Virginia Gouffre being with Trump for what, 4 hours, 3 hours, or whatever, and that's just admitted. Yeah, okay.
My point was some of the names on the flight logs and some of the names in the files may be people who hitched a ride from Florida to New York on Epstein's plane, but we have evidence that Clinton went to the island. We don't have evidence that Trump went to the island.
Yeah, we just have lots of evidence that Alan Dershowitz got massages, but he kept his underwear on.
I haven't seen that, but
no.
and let's see, we have evidence that Trump disavowed Epstein, threw him out once because they stole Virginia Giuffre from Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, but there's also evidence that they still had business ties going up to 2017, and then the most damning one was the fact that they had pictures of Jeffrey Epstein at the White House after Trump had won. So I don't know, man. There's some holes in that one. Even if he kicked him out, because like there again, it's so convenient that it's just like, yeah, you know what? He hung out with this guy, literally has video after video after video of just, you know, being more than chummy. Like, I'm not as chummy with that as some of my best friends, man. Like, especially the you know the video I'm talking about, the one where he's sitting there like, yeah. What about her? Huh? Doing his little, you know, his little shimmy dance.
Guys at a party.
He's at a party with a known sex offender, and then he just happens to take that known sex offender's girlfriend and give her a sweetheart deal because.
Oh, you're talking about Alex Acosta?
Oh no, I'm not even talking Acosta. I'm talking about the sweetheart deal to move.
Ghislaine?
Oh my God, Ghislaine. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
To the Texas
so about that,
Club Med.
Yeah, I heard you on your stream. You were talking about that. You said that's the worst and most damning thing against Trump is that he moved her there. She's your only surviving star witness. Yeah. If you want these guys that aren't going to be in the publicly released files prosecuted, you're going to need Ghislaine to roll over on them. And that's
Not
what they do.
Necessarily, because again, that's why they're releasing the locked testimony from her, is because now and that came from a bunch of like MAGA people just be like, release the Ghislaine's testimony. It's like, I have a feeling that might not be as good as they want it to be, because she pushed back against it. Her lawyers team didn't want that to happen. That makes me think like, okay, there might be something in there.
She wants to get out. She wants to be pardoned. And if that comes out,
I wouldn't be shocked if she was. And that's where, again, that should definitely be an implication of guilt to. And again, not if she's a snitch. Hard on crime thing when all of a sudden you're gonna like these people who were convicted by our justice system, they're just gonna walk because they said something nice or they were friendly to Trump. I think that's a little, I don't know, that's a little sus. I would say the same shit about any president or any politician that I totally agreed with. If they started pulling crap like that, I'd be like, you know what? That's odd. And why am I all of us like, I would start questioning like, oh, maybe am I being used like to feed
we
the
do this
narrative?
all the time. We give snitches, we give the canaries extra treats so that they sing. We do it all the time. Also, another reason they move her to a place like that is because they don't want to get her to get shanked in Gen Pop. How long do you think she's going to last in Gen Pop in like some Chicago prison?
Then you don't move her from the prison she was in. She was in a federal prison that she was doing just peachy in Florida, I think.
They got Epstein in a federal prison.
Yeah, well, I personally think that it's kind of convenient that Trump was president when that happened, eh?
Oh, so you think so? All of this is just speculation. I remember when I used to get called a conspiracy theorist.
Technically, it is, and technically, yeah, I feel like I'm playing that game sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. How do you think I feel? Where all of a sudden I had to be like, I agree with some QAnon shit. Damn, what's happening? Like that's when I knew that things were changing. But at the same time, I've also been wanting to always be like, yo, dude, we're being played. Every culture war freaking issue that comes up, I'm just like, this is another way just to keep us from saying, yeah, we should definitely tax some of the rich or like the billionaires. But it always goes back to the same thing where it's like, well, if we tax them, then they're gonna leave. And now if we lock them up, yeah, you know what? Then what? I don't know, man. I'm not for protecting billionaires.
I'm fine with
overall thing.
Yeah, neither am I. But that's not what this is. This is not protecting billionaires by not releasing files to the public that don't incriminate any people. It really
say they don't incriminate though. That's your again. That's
if it incriminates somebody, it won't be in the files that get released.
You don't know that though. Then
I do.
Again,
they're not releasing anything with ongoing criminal
investigations. Then we just need the files released. So then I could be like, you know what, JS was right. My bad.
And Trump is going to release the files.
Yeah, come on. Why again? 30 days.
There we go. It's
30
exactly
days?
like I said in my opening. once the files get released,
again, 30 days.
once the files get released, you're going to say we need more
everything's
files.
redacted. Then what?
How much? What do you need released? You need
I would
everything
like
released.
the actual names of the perpetrators released. So, like, we don't protect anybody that is committing those crimes. So, I'll admit where if I'm wrong, like if we need to do a follow-up debate where he does release a whole bunch of people and a bunch of billionaires all of a sudden start getting locked up and, you know, have their famous mugshot, then I'll be fine with it. But I have a feeling that's not going to be the case.
It's not. I'm already telling you it's not going to be the case. And this is why I'm
but
talking about.
I think it's not going to be the case for two very different reasons.
Yeah, but theory crafting and speculation and making up conspiracy theories is fun. I do it too. I like doing it too. But we need to go off evidence.
I think that's the difference. I don't like doing this.
we need to look at what we have, the evidence, and you see Trump is releasing the most files. You see he's actively, you know, talking about it, which I think he shouldn't have even mentioned it on the campaign trail. But
honestly, you kind of said it right there. He really pigeonholed himself because that. Like, you want to talk about a bonehead move? If I was a Trump supporter, I'd be like, "Why'd you do that, man? Damn!"
I'll tell you why he did it. Because everybody upplays the Epstein files, and he knew it would get some votes.
Again, populism. Well, again, why populism? Then why is it so popular, man? Like, I think it's popular. Like, you can't use populism just like as a blanket bad word when it implies that it's a popular thing.
It ties in with movies like Eyes Wide Shut, and it. You know, everybody wants to hate the billionaires and hate the people who are rich and powerful.
No, they kind of did that to themselves when they keep hoarding their little money, and then I end up paying. You know,
but you said why are people so interested
in Chicago?
In it?
So I can say that, like with the tax thing, I constantly have this. Like I'm constantly having these arguments, and the thing is, I'm no big fan because I'm in one of the most overtaxed states and cities that you can live in this entire fucking country. While I do agree with a lot of them, and I do also live in a state that happens to give us the resources to go and like to see where at least our state taxes are going.
Okay, I do. Well, I want to go back to the Epstein or the Ghislaine prison transfer thing because, if she's in there snitching, and she's in there, she's singing names, and that's why they put her in this cushy prison. If that's the case, which everything that we see is that's what it points to. When they
think we would have already seen it because Kash Patel and Pam Bondi can't keep their pants on with any investigation.
But if her testimony leads to convictions, would you say that was a good move to move her to that prison?
Yeah, no. If that's exactly what they're doing, it doesn't seem like that. And honestly,
what do you think they're doing?
Because the thing is, Trump, with being able to spin a yarn, would have said that. Like how come you're making a better point than what's that blonde bimbo's name that he has speaking for him all the time? Like, you're making a better
because she's a woman
argument than her.
Yeah, but this was talked about. There was a guy on Pierce. Ghislaine's brother was on Pierce Morgan talking about it, and
that was Epstein's brother, wasn't it? Oh no, you're right. No, he was in studio. You're right because he interviewed both of them. Okay.
He interviewed Mark Epstein. I didn't see that one.
Yeah, he also interviewed Mark Epstein.
But yeah, he interviewed, I think it was Ghislaine's brother, and he was talking about how she shouldn't even be in jail because when he got his sweetheart deal.
Yeah, I remember that. And that's when that was kind of what led to her even appealing to the Supreme Court, and they were just like, nah.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree she shouldn't be pardoned or she shouldn't get out. But and he was, of course, pleading her case, so he's going to be very biased towards her. But
I mean, family, listen, some family, you never know, but they at least do seem like they're at least close enough.
But it was a big story that they were questioning her, and she was singing, and then she gets moved. So that could lead to some convictions. And
I mean, if that's the case, if it actually does lead to convictions, but I seeing all this pushback from the Trump administration, even up until when the House voted on it, which again, that in itself, that's enough of an argument to be like, what the fuck? Why push back so hard? All of a sudden, when he didn't have the votes, he's like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to just release it all. Because I think that's when Pam Bondi said, well, I can at least open an investigation for 30 days, even if they do vote on this, so we can go and take care of some of this.
Yeah, I think his hands were tied, and he had to say something to cover up for the fact that he couldn't come through with a promise that he made.
Why do that? Why do all that performative stuff in the first place?
Because the base and the people were going to be in an uproar when they heard that he can't release the file. So maybe he said what he said was stupid. It looked worse, but he was trying to beat Trump and say, "Don't worry about it. It's just a hoax." But anyway, he's now releasing them. So promise fulfilled.
I mean, we'll see on the 19th.
And this is what it's going to be.
It'll be interesting, but we
need more
I'm trying
files.
to be fair here, man.
Files.
Like, again, if they release them, all of a sudden some of the names in there are the same ones being sung by Ghislaine and they have some actual convictions, maybe, just maybe, I'll go, all right.
Those,
those
names
I'm willing
aren't
to see it, but the thing is, the evidence isn't pointing in that direction, and we go back to August. Like, dude, this has been happening since like mid-July when they first started talking about releasing this stuff, like seriously. And then all of a sudden, like I said, it's just like one thing after another that conveniently makes it to where it's like, you know what? We can't do it. Sorry. Government shutdown. My bad.
It's still in the first year of his presidency.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on, dude. During Biden's first year of the presidency, I and I'm not even a Biden fan. I was not like, I didn't love the guy, but I had to hear constantly just like, oh yeah, well, you liberals, you guys are just so happy about this high inflation, and oh man, he fucked us with COVID, even though Trump was the one that did it. Oh man, he fucked us with the jab, even though Trump did that. COVID. Well, he screwed up. He definitely screwed up in the early months there. You could argue all day. It definitely didn't
was
help
he xenophobic for doing a travel ban?
No, I didn't think that. I thought I thought that was silly. Because again,
anyway, I don't want to. We could probably argue about
focusing on it, but focusing on a travel ban that's only focusing on specific people. That seems a little sus when it's like this is a disease that doesn't really differentiate what color you are. He seemed to make it about color, which I don't know, man.
5 million
things a lot about color. It kind of makes me go like, oh, well, that's interesting. Why'd you do that? Why are you going around saying Somalis and Mexicans, but you're just like, oh, you know who I love? The Norwegians. We need some more Swedes. You know,
because that's where the people who left Wuhan went to. They went to those countries to get into America.
All right.
Yeah, that was an attack. Anyway,
well, he did a very poor job of protecting the country then.
The names of the people who are going to be prosecuted won't be in the files. So then you're going to cry for more files.
No, we're going to cry for the names to be released because then here's the difference.
They'll be released once.
Here's the difference. If they redact those names, then that means those names are still available, meaning that needs to be released. So yeah. I don't know what's so controversial about us being like, no, you should if they black out some names to protect some fucking billionaires that committed some crimes. Yeah, that's literally the problem with what we're saying. Like Trump is covering up for some billionaire friends. Plain and simple.
Why didn't the victims say
they want to? They keep saying it. And also, I'll say this one. So this whole thing with they want the protections because that's the whole reason that people say, well, they didn't speak up for so long because it was power. Like, dude, are we really going to ignore the fact that some of these people, you guys can wrap your head around Hillary Clinton having some poor schmuck killed on the fucking street in 2016, but you can't apply that to your own side? Please, man.
I mean, I don't
be disingenuous, please. For real.
I see a lot of evidence that the Clintons murdered a guy and that Obama murdered a guy.
But you can't see it. That's
I don't
what
see
happened.
Much evidence.
You can't see the thing with Epstein and during a very precarious position at the with the first year of Trump being in office. Can't put that one.
Why did they not mention that in the emails when they're having emails of how they're going to blackmail Trump? Why wouldn't they say he fucked Virginia Giuffre and we know about it? We can hang this guy. But instead they say he's been to the house, he's been on the plane. But they
don't know. I honestly don't know. We could find out in those files though. We could definitely find out with some of the redactions being unredacted.
I can do the hot topic thing too. It would convince me that Trump was guilty if they found
I'm genuinely curious about that. So yeah,
if they found a laptop that he left at a pawn shop that had pictures of him smoking crack with underage hookers, then I'd probably be like, yeah, he's probably guilty.
But Hunter Biden's laptop.
Yeah. How about that?
But. So we can't apply it by a guy that literally has been caught on tape talking about sexualizing his daughter, though. I mean, come on, man.
He made some jokes about I would date her
Oh
when
my
she
God,
gets
he
older
made some
too.
jokes about his daughter being hot. That's not weird.
I've heard guys say, "Oh man, she's a cutie. I would date her if I was a young man." Something
That's
like
fucking
that.
weird. That's not the argument I think you think it is there, JS.
Okay.
Like, with all due respect.
I got another one coming that's gonna be even worse. But
oh, color me interested.
But so the laptop comes out and it's got proof. It's got video proof, pictures, photos, and it gets buried. But nothing like that's where's the smoking gun against Trump?
Again,
That
the smoking
he knew
gun
Epstein?
is the fact that he won't even just say like, hey, you know what? And this is what's genuinely surprising about it to me, because I don't think that he really does this to like, he wants to protect himself. Trump only cares about one person, Trump. So this is the hole in my argument where it's just like, yeah, you know, I think that if he could just throw maybe one billionaire under the bus, he could just be like, you know what, screw it. I don't even like this guy. But he still hasn't even done that, which that's where it gets me about like the whole, like this goes beyond any Citizens United type of money. I'm talking like this is for Trump to be scared of something. That's wild. Like that. And that you want to put on the tinfoil hat. Well, like, let's roll up this tinfoil, brother. Like,
well, I mean, the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is Mossad, but
I'll talk about that because, like, I think that's a point of agreement we have. Like, I think he was Mossad, and I think it's been pretty much proven at this point. Like, that he constantly bounced around Ghislaine Maxwell's father being a massive piece in Israeli intelligence. Like, it is just kind of like, all right. And then you hear just about the stuff that was released. It was like today or yesterday. In general, about how like he was pretty open about that kind of stuff and the Russian influence, and just like he was almost to a stupid degree where he was because of his ego, he would go around bragging about that kind of stuff, you know.
Well, I think he might have unknowingly been a CIA or an asset, an intelligence asset.
See, now that, all right. You mind elaborating a little on that?
Well, like they're watching him. They have people that are going in and talk. They know what he's doing. And they're watching him and they're using him to get to the other people. And then they use that as leverage. Like the island was a honeypot. So he's leading people in there.
Well, that's where I think you said his name, that the Victoria's Secret guy. Or no, somebody in the chat actually said it. My bad.
Larry Summers or
no, not Summers. No. This guy owned Victoria's Secret. It came out that he essentially gave Epstein, like that's where Epstein got all his money, because he was essentially like hired by this guy to be his like financial advisor and just overall bagman. And he gave him his house, Leslie something. Yeah, it was Leslie something.
That the biggest house in Manhattan.
Yeah, Wexner. Les Wexner. Yeah, that's the guy. It came
There's
out
also theories that he got Robert Maxwell's fortune when Robert Maxwell fell off the boat.
Again, going back to that one, just like, that's convenient. I mean, that's one hell of a convenient P for those guys to get that guy written off.
But see, all this stuff is super interesting, and I want the files released just for my curiosity. But again, the files that are released to the public are not going to have open criminal investigations. They're not going to have information from these intelligence agencies. They're not going to release that stuff to the public. The files that they're going to give us.
That's I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, man, but like for real, because Trump has ran on transparency specifically with the CIA. He's ran on like, I'm going to release the MLK files. I'm going to release the JFK files, RFK files. My bad, RFK. I know we found out what felching is. I regret my entire life. Sorry. I thought about the RFK thing and I was like, you know what? I totally just derailed my own argument thinking about that.
Yeah, it's I would rather we find out the names of the guilty parties once they've been arrested and it becomes a public case. Until it becomes a public case, if you release their names, you're giving them warning, you're giving them time to flee. If you release the names of people who aren't involved in these mass...
Wait. So you genuinely think that these people don't know that they're on the fucking list, though? Come on, man. Like, if they're going to flee, they're already there. Like, honestly, like, and this is going to be complete speculation on my part. This is not the general opinions of SpeakeaZy or my opponent here or myself even, I'm just asking questions here, then why, that just overall, why cover all this? Just like, why cover it all up? Like, why not just release it day one? That's the biggest hole in all this that I see, is just like Trump really could have avoided any implications by just being like, you know what, screw it.
It's a huge ongoing investigation. And according to the FBI,
at that point it wasn't, though. At that point they said it was wrapped up, and the you had Kash Patel even coming out and saying that it was ready to go. When Pam Bondi screwed up saying it's on my desk, and then that's not what I meant. It's just there's so many convenient arguments here instead of just being like, yeah, they really are just kind of protecting some pretty high up people, and they don't want to stir that pot because that would cause some major issues just in the general lexicon of American politics.
Well, Kash Patel also said that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't trafficking girls to other people. It was just for his own personal. Yeah,
which is bullshit. Pleasure. Come on.
Well, that's like that. That's what Michael Wolff writes.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. That makes so much sense when you have other proof about, like, again, just how come there are so many people that just happen to get these massages, and just again, thousands of victims coming out saying pretty much the same shit. Again,
yeah, the victims they were so horribly traumatized that they went and told their friends where to go to make $300.
At that point, that's not an argument, man. That's how sex trafficking works.
Well, this is like another issue I have.
They prey on young, vulnerable teenage women. Like that's how that goes.
This is another issue I have with the Epstein files. I think that it's a giant Me Too. I think that if you're a
that's a hot take. I'll give you that
if you're a 12, 14, 16-year-old boy, a male's strength and power a man's power comes from his strength, his physical ability. If a young boy wants to use his power and his strength to steal something from somebody, he goes to jail. A woman's prowess is in her beauty, her sexuality, her youth. If she wants to get paid to jerk off some old guy, she gets $2 million.
This isn't about like the liberation of sex workers, dude. This is literally about like taking advantage of young teenage girls and sex trafficking them.
It's another reason.
That's a whole different argument, bro.
It's another reason why people are playing the Epstein files, because they get so emotional about these young girls, these 15 and 16-year-old girls who get to go.
Nancy Mace? Like, what did they hear that made them all emotional by your understanding of it?
Nancy Mace.
Nancy Mace literally walking out and crying from
she the one that killed her kids?
No, you don't know who Nancy Mace is? One of the
I don't know. You have to. There's a lot
of names. She's like one of the most prominent MAGA House members.
Yeah, the name sounds familiar. I don't know, but my point is, these young girls they knowingly did what they did, and then they were getting paid to live on an island, hang out with rich, powerful men, and they give them some massages, and now they all got Botox. They're looking good. They look like models, and they come out and have a little tear. If she crying, she lying. And they come out and say, well, we're sad. They've already made $2 million each. They're rich. They're not traumatized.
What? That's not the case for any of these women. None of them were paid off in that way that you're saying, number one.
Yes.
And also, that's a weird way to just say, like, yeah, sex trafficking is okay.
And 380 million.
Are you essentially using they asked for it?
There's been. I think that those girls should be charged for prostitution. How come we hold young men accountable when they commit crimes, but we don't commit 14-year-old girls accountable when they commit a crime? Prostitution's a crime.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I think that's completely wrong.
It's not wrong. What, they were so horrified that they went and told their friends about it? That's how they recruited people. A girl would come in.
I'm just saying, like, that doesn't make it right, man. Like, it's the same thing that Matt Gaetz was doing. Also, this kind of puts a hole in your argument where it's like, then, I don't know, how come this seems to be a very openly Republican thing to do then?
What?
To solicit 17-year-old women for sex.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Matt Gaetz, you don't know about that one? The congressman from Florida that got blatantly busted in a sting, and that's the reason he's no longer in the House?
Yeah, Yeah, there's probably some grimy guys in there. But my point is that's another reason people are upplaying it, is because, oh, the victims, these poor young girls.
Yeah, you do know that that's just the basic humanity of the situation. That this is where you would dare call it bipartisan, where most people see women being mistreated in this way, and they either have daughters, mothers, sisters, any
Do you think
female
they were
acquaintance.
running up on people on the streets and grabbing them and wrapping them in a blanket and taking them back and
It
forcing them
wasn't
to
too
do sex
far
work?
from that, man. Like, dude, no.
Oh,
And,
yes, it
also
was.
The
It was very far
sophisticated
from
way
that.
in which they do this. There's a reason that they prey on vulnerable communities. There's a reason they prey on women that
Vulnerable?
don't have money. It's
A
not like they
girl-
were trafficking fucking Ivanka.
A girl who's going to spa school and working at Mar-a-Lago, she was
She
vulnerable.
went to spa school because this is the thing about Virginia Gouffre. She actually came from like one of those types of situations where she even said like her parents, they barely cracked like, $80,000 a year between the two of them. She said that like she kind of lived in not squalor, but she definitely saw the benefit of having that type of money, and they preyed on that. I mean, dude,
Well,
this is
I don't think being poor is an excuse to commit a crime, even if you are a juvenile.
So you're just saying that juveniles are fully brained adults that like can understand the repercussions of their actions without any fucking guidance from the broader society that is here to protect them?
If
What
a
the fuck
poor
is the point of being a parent then?
If a poor 14-year-old boy robs a store, he gets charged and he goes to juvie. If a poor 14-year-old
That's
girl,
not always true. I live in Chicago.
14-year-old
Actually, you have a
girl
lot of
does
people that would argue and say
prostitution.
that doesn't happen.
if a poor 14-year-old girl commits prostitution, she gets $2 million payout and a man goes to jail.
That's very, very I would call it anecdotal, but
what do you mean? I have evidence.
I'm not saying
not
that
an
you-
anecdote.
that
I'm
you
pointing out
participated in it,
examples.
just
I know a
saying
lot
that-
of young men who got locked up for doing things when they were 12, 14, 16 years old, but they're not at the age of consent. But if a girl goes out and prostitutes herself and then tells her friends
Dude, I got
about it and
locked up
recruits her friends,
for like Holden. What the fuck are you talking about? But I was also let out with like a little slap on the hand to just be like, "Hey, no more dime bags there, kid."
yeah, that's my
Like, what are you
point.
talking about? Yeah, and you know who was also like arrested with me? My girlfriend, and she had the same fucking charges. So I don't know where this point comes from. Like, you're trying to broadly say like women who get picked up for prostitution when they're in their teens are just, casually let go and given $2 million. Like, what?
Yeah, they don't get. Well, that's what happened with all
What's your example in this one where this woman was given $2 million as a
What are we talking
14-year-old
about?
for? Well, I mean,
No, they were
you
given
seem pretty
$2 million
confident to say, like,
later.
to use this as a blanket statement.
They were given $2 million later.
Who?
150 Epstein victims have been paid out $380 million so far.
Oh, well, in that case, good for them.
That's my point. They
It
knowingly,
seems like they would have. It seems like in the way that they went and vetted all these cases, because I mean, you just said that they found out that one of them was a fraud, so that means that they actually did some really good due diligence. That means that the ones that got paid out probably deserved it.
yeah. And Michael Wolff wrote about it, and he said at one of the parties there was 30 hired women there, and 9 of them.
The thing that's not being spoken about is where these women came from. Elite Modeling Agency. And that was owned by Donald Trump and Epstein.
Not all of them. That's the ones in New York.
A large number of them, though.
Yeah, but a lot of them in Florida and a lot of them in Paris were just girls that they met on the street. And they'd come back to the house, and then they'd say, if you like, tell your friends about it. And then they would go and tell their friends, and their friends would come. So if it was so traumatic, why are they telling their friends and helping them recruit?
Because they then realized what was going on. This is how trauma works. Sometimes you realize that you were used by somebody because they understood that you were a stupid person or you were a developing mind. So they took advantage of that. That's usually how these things work.
Or these girls were living their best life.
That's why they're called predators.
Yeah, or these girls were living their best life, going to islands, hanging out with rich, powerful people, getting paid to do it. And then
all right,
years
man.
later,
I mean, if this is the hill you want to die on, have fun.
And then years later, they cry about it and they get a payout. And now all of a sudden, everybody's worried about the Epstein files. Also, the guys implicated, a lot of them were blackmailed. They didn't know.
Wait. So why, like, this goes back to then why not just release it all then? Like, what are you so scared of? Like, who are you? Are you like?
I've
This is
said
where
I
I'm
want him to
confused.
release
Are you genuinely afraid that like Donald Trump is going to get somehow pigeonholed into this, and this is the leftist hoax that might take him down?
I'm not afraid of anything. I said I want him to release the files just because I'm curious, but it's not some big thing that we need to be focused on for 6 years straight and keep talking about it. Like,
To be fair, in the mainstream, it's only literally been like since he got back into office.
oh, when Trump's in office, yeah. And before Trump goes in office. So that's when the Katie Johnson thing came out when Trump
honestly,
was running in
it all picked up steam when Epstein died in prison, and everybody kind of looked at the calendar and went, "Oh, who's the president?" And then went, "Oh." Like,
I wish you knew
first
more.
time that I had a conversation where somebody was just like, "Well, that's a little sus."
I wish you knew more about the Katie Johnson thing because I listened to her deposition yesterday, and
I'll definitely give it a listen. I know, like, my bad that I
there's
don't know about
go
it,
listen to it. There's a thing with her talking with a private investigator, and she's like, first off, she says she lost her virginity like 3 times, and then she says she jerked off Trump once, and he smacked her and told her to put on a glove. Then later, she sucked off Trump, and he smacked her and told her to put a condom on him. But then months later, he rapes her, but he doesn't wear a condom, and she's worried about getting pregnant. And he allegedly tells her, "You'll just get an abortion."
Okay.
Well, so
like, all this aside, this doesn't like. I have a feeling that I would have been hearing more about this if there were actual implications that this could have like then taken the whole case down. But I think that unilaterally, a lot of people just went, "Okay." That
everybody knew it was a hoax.
Is probably false, but the rest that we have done a bunch of investigations into, they seem to be very, very credible. I know that like lawyers, I'm not a lawyer myself. I just have friends that are. They're not into just paying out willy-nilly. That's something that does not just happen. Usually there are broader
lawyers don't pay
implications of
anything
guilt,
out. JP Morgan paid them
that want to be well, again, even JP Morgan's, well, listen, I can't get over the fact that Trump couldn't figure out that JP Morgan isn't a fucking person. That was funny. But just an aside. He literally went just like, and JP Morgan, he's a bad guy. Bad guy. It's like
that sounds like something Trump would say.
Yeah.
Also, another point is these guys, if this was blackmail, they go to an adult party with a bunch of adult people. There's drinks going around. And then they say, "You want a massage? You can get a massage in the back room." They go in the back room. They get a massage by an attractive young lady. Maybe they get a happy ending.
That doesn't matter. Then they need to do something called vetting. I mean,
so you want them to...
I have worked at establishments that vetted hostesses better than frickin' they vet their parties, apparently.
No, I'm not talking about yes, Epstein, but if Epstein is intentionally hiring girls under the age of 18, but if I go to his party and they say, and it's an adult party,
hiring, though. I think that's where you're conflating this. Ghislaine was the one, like,
yeah,
I'm saying you used the term honeypotting. She honeypotted the shit out of these girls. Where, like, literally, she said, like, she would target them purposefully for this. She would work them and be just like, "Oh, I actually have a really fun place you want to go." And, very powerful people. You've never been experienced. You've never had this experience. You never will again. I mean, Virginia Giuffre literally said, "I never thought I'd meet a prince. That's why I needed to take that picture in the first place."
Yeah, and then they go, and it's exactly what she said, except they have to jerk her guy off. But anyway, my point is, these guys don't know these girls are under 18. So you said they need to do vetting.
Come on.
How are you going to blackmail?
You think that?
That's part of the honeypot. That's part of the setup. You get them to go into the room and get the massage, and then they come out and you say, "By the way, she's 15 years old, and I have you on tape doing that. Now I own you."
I mean, you know who else did that? Bubba the Love Sponge with Hulk Hogan.
I don't know anything about that, but why does that not
lawsuit? Look it up.
So if I go somewhere and it's an adult party and somebody says they're doing massages in the back, and I go in the back and get a massage, and then they tell me she's 15, I didn't know what I was supposed to vet her. I'm a guest.
No. But then you go and leave the party, and then you said something about narcs earlier that you were comfortable with. Well, that seems like a position to narc on. Just say.
You can't narc
You could
because they
definitely
have
snitch there. Why
they have
not? Why
they have the
not?
blackmail on you now.
Oh, wait a minute. But if it's only a massage, I mean, Alan Dershowitz kept his underwear on, so
Because
come on.
they're still going to catch charges for doing stuff with these girls, even if they didn't know.
But there has to be irrefutable proof.
Well, they're going to have to admit, yeah, I did it. I didn't know she was 18. Okay, well, you're still going to catch a charge.
So we kind of agree that they should catch that charge?
Not if I'm saying no. If they didn't know, they shouldn't catch a charge.
But you're assuming they don't. I'm going to go out on see, this
They
is
were
where we
lied to?
probably do differ a little bit, where I'll say, no, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they knew.
This is speculation too, because there's actually
Uses
no
the
evidence.
term narc except a Fed. Sorry, I got to read that chat. Someone
actually,
from Chicago.
There's no evidence that he was actually blackmailing people. This is all speculation. Like, the only evidence we have is there's one message from Mark saying Epstein says he has a lot of dirt on people. And then there's Bill Gates made a comment at some point about Epstein knows powerful people and he knows all their secrets or something like that. That's the only real evidence that we have that he was even blackmailing guys. The FBI says he wasn't trafficking to other people. It was just for his own personal use.
Again, it's convenient that the FBI only said that when Kash Patel took it over, though. Like, that was listen, I'm going to do the thing. Like, it's always used against the, Biden does X, Y, Z. Seriously, you can't use the same fucking logic. Like, this is what always pisses me off about
I've been
MAGA,
trying
like,
not
just
to
all
do
due
what
respect,
aboutisms.
but like, for real, they always do that thing where they can't apply the same scrutiny that they do to everything else. And then they conveniently just go like, you know what? Yeah, it makes perfect sense. That Kash Patel, the whole like written on the bullets thing and all that shit, like in all these cases, totally makes sense.
I've been trying not to do any whataboutisms. I did the Hunter laptop thing because I thought that was pretty funny. But
well, I thought that was pretty funny. So then we got 1-on-1.
Yeah, they're like we haven't even talked about if I wanted to go to the Democrats, Stacey Plaskett getting text message. You see that? You know about that?
I don't know who that is.
She was on. I forget if it's Congress or Senate, but anyway, she was like a House representative, and she was getting text messages from Epstein for what to say in the hush money case.
Lock her up.
Okay,
seriously, lock her up.
Yeah, and we know that.
I'm consistent, man. If anybody knew about this shit, I don't care if you got a D or an R next to your fucking name.
If
lock them up.
If they knew what?
If they knew about this stuff, if they had admitted crimes, if they had any knowledge that could have led to the arrest of Epstein during the point in which he was alive and committing these crimes, then lock them fucking up. That makes them. That is literally being not implicated, but like you're a fucking sidekick at that fucking point.
What if I know that Epstein is a rich guy? He has parties with powerful people. I go to his parties. There's young, attractive women there.
When all this stuff comes out, you start playing the, I didn't know, the thing that Donald Trump is conveniently doing. Because again, to use your logic, Trump did that where he's like, I kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was a bad guy. Didn't like him anymore. Found out some nasty stuff. Then you do the same thing.
Okay, what if Trump knows that Epstein, maybe he doesn't know that Epstein's trafficking young girls or anything like that, but he knows Epstein's kind of a creep. He likes young ladies. He has
it really seems that everybody, listen, this is what is painful for me. See, this is where I can admit it. I've always been a Howard Stern fan. I've been a Howard Stern fan since I was a little kid. Howard Stern had some sus pictures of him being at some of these Diddy parties, and then there was one specifically where fucking Epstein and Trump are there. I'm just like, oh man, I got some questions now. Like, you didn't know about this? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, I think that there's a lot of these rich motherfuckers out there that they all know this stuff.
I agree that there's probably a lot of rich, powerful guys that were doing some messed up stuff. But the point is, these Epstein files are not going to do anything to get them locked up.
I mean, especially with the ones that like are milking the system and currently still just, They don't give a shit because they feel like Donald Trump is going to support him, and they probably are doing this thing like, let's see what happens if you just happen to not support or if you can't, protect me. Let's see.
Yeah, there's going to be so many names of people that aren't implicated in any way, and
this is again, we're going back to your point about Clinton. Even if he's on it, like I said, lock him up.
Just because he's on it and he knew Epstein. And he knew something weird was going on.
If you have the implications that are like, because again, 1,000 victim testimonies, there's going to be names. They're going to name names. This is where, okay, take it to trial. Let's do this.
Yeah, I think, I asked earlier, why haven't they named names? They probably have a gag order or something. They're probably not allowed to say names. I think there's active investigations.
I can just say, like, I've worked in industries that have NDAs and stuff like that. They're not as protective as you think.
Well, I think there's active investigations that are open and ongoing, and those are not going to be in whatever publicly released files come out. We'll find out when the people get arrested, and then it becomes a public trial, if it becomes a public trial. But
it should be. Can we at least agree that it should?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
but all of that, release the Epstein files, and calling Trump a pedo with no evidence.
We're doing the same. We're doing the same thing that this guy in chat's doing with the smelling of the hair, calling Biden a pedo. It's some of it is just we're trying to rile you up. Like, dude, we do debate space and internet stuff. That half of it is literally just trying to troll the other person. Like, especially if you're being disingenuous about it. This is the difference with me, where I don't have that energy to waste on that kind of shit.
Yeah, when the right wing trolls, people don't get killed.
That's not true. I'm sorry. That's just inherently not true. If we're talking about Charlie Kirk getting kirked, then I'll bring up the Candace Owens thing that she was saying about TP USA and the fact that now she thinks that it was an inside job with the people within TP.
That's not that's not the same as calling people Nazis and pedos.
It's not the same as calling people fascists and commies.
I mean,
come on, man. Come on.
Come
on. Just acknowledge that we play the fucking name game.
Most people don't even know what fascist means. So
no, people don't know what communism is. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, that's quite different
than people on the left barely know what fucking communism is. All right, that was a generalization I probably shouldn't have made. But
well, it's probably true. But just releasing the files publicly it's not going to do anything. All it's going to do is public opinion. People are going to be like, oh, this guy's a pedo, this guy's a pedo, this guy's a pedo. And a lot of them
public opinion goes a long way when you're a billionaire who rely, like, this is where I don't like the idea that billionaires are these like gods that will have no implications handed down to them when they rely on us being complicit in the system that is capitalism specifically to support their businesses. So say that, what's his face? Ellison, say he's implicated, right? Which I already hate the guy because he's a freaking Zionist, but say he's implicated, it should be just a widespread thing where we're all just like, all right, fuck Paramount, even though most people are already there, oddly enough. A lot of MAGA didn't get the memo that all of a sudden CBS is now more MAGA programming, and that's why Barry Weiss isn't doing as well. I'm going to just say that that's a little interesting to me, but I won't go into a long diatribe about like the media buyouts. But overall, my broader point is just why in general would you not just admit that this is a fucking problem?
It's a problem, and stuff's going to come out over time. My point is people are hyper focused on this when there's other more important issues. And
this is something to hyper fixate on, though, because again, QAnon and like, this is where I brought the class consciousness angle to it, where you had enough people that took this past politics. They got outside of the culture war mind games that they really want us to continue to do. Trust me, we play into it a lot, even as a leftist and right wing commentator like space. Like, we accidentally play into it just by even doing this, where realistically we should be just kind of being like, yeah, you know what? These are fucking expensive and these assholes suck. But we can never focus on that because, again, we have to do these like minor arguments, and then we have to argue semantics, and we have to try and also like, oh, I'm big I am way smarter than the this is why I don't really do the debate spaces, to be completely honest, specifically because it takes away from having actual conversations about trying to fix some of this.
Yeah, I agree with that, and that's my point here. We're talking about the Epstein files. They're coming. We'll see it, and I don't think anything's going to come from it.
So, Pep Talks, whenever you're ready for your closing statement, I will start the timer up with your voice.
All right, cool. All right, so I think that what I've taken from this is that sometimes, like you use the term TDS, I genuinely think that TDS now works both ways, where like a lot of MAGA tends to delude themselves to just make it so they don't have to admit that somebody that they put a lot of time and effort into could possibly be somebody that they're not exactly into. Like, this is the problem with stan culture in general, just gonna say. And then, like, I have to say, like, there was some weird portions there, little damn near victim blamey. I think that I can't stand behind the idea of just not recognizing that, you know, teenage kids are susceptible to some of this stuff. That's why, you know, teenagers in general are treated the way that they are, like children, because they are still developing brains. I still think that it's insane to just to think that like they're doing all these bipartisan commissions now, and then we're just going to just pretend that, you know, Trump getting involved has absolutely no implications. Trump putting it off for as long as he did, there's nothing weird to see there. The Pam Bondi, like, saying that she had it on her desk. There's just so many things there that, like, if you take yourself out of like the political spaces and you're like playing the, you know, which side, you just look at it objectively and go, yeah, it seems a little messed up, especially when you look at all the money that's involved, the power that's involved, and then what they're trying to do politically. I think that it kind of almost speaks for itself. I personally think that it should be like where we can probably have a portion of agreement here is that we should let this go to the court of the public opinion. I think that honestly, it could also go to just court. That'd be nice, because in my opinion, I do think that adds a little layer of culpability to, you know, the billionaires that are there. Like, if you threaten, like, they can only buy themselves out of so many scenarios. You know what I mean? Like, there are, we have some billionaires that have been locked up. I couldn't really articulate that point as well as I wanted to. But overall, I do think that to downplay like the Epstein stuff doesn't really necessarily do anyone any favors. Even Trump, to be fair, where it's just like it's caused more problems for him than it's solved. That's for sure. And in the interest of, again, just getting justice for the victims, not even protecting them, just getting justice for these women who have, this goes back, I think it goes back to like 1989 or something like that. Like, that's a lot. Like, over 1,000 women coming out and saying that they have had very similar experiences too. Like, this is like, I don't know, man. I saw the same games being played with Bill Cosby, where for a while there, once it got to about 30, that's when all of a sudden people were like, well, that's a lot. And then it got to 80 and they were just like, oh, there's no way we could support this guy. But then there's still some out there that just are like, I love me some Keith Huxtable. So I don't know. I do kind of feel like, and I don't want to do the cult thing, because I'm not trying to do this. Like, I'm not trying to make this like what we were doing at the end there with the communism, fascism thing. I think we can both recognize that, you know, a lot of people disingenuously throw out some fucking terms to try and pigeonhole their opponents, especially in political debates. But overall, I do think that we need to come to some kind of agreement, bipartisan agreement, where billionaire pedos shouldn't be allowed to get away with what they're getting away with. And I don't want to oversimplify your argument, but it almost seems like you're making the same kind of case where it's just like, well, we can't lock them up because then their money won't be there for us. Which, again, as a lefty, I've heard so many times people say that that's why we can't tax billionaires, is then they'll just pick up and leave. So I don't know, maybe that's the reason that I reacted to it that way. But like I said, guys, I think that this is kind of cut and dry. I think that the victims should definitely be, they should have their time with congressional the oversight committees. I think that we should be able to hear each and every victim that wants to be heard. I think that we should get the unredacted Epstein files released, and we should be able to make our judgments from there, whether it be in the court of public opinion or the actual court of justice.
All right. Thank you for that closing statement. And with that, we're going to hand the mic over to JS for your closing statement. And whenever you're ready, JS, I will start the timer up with your voice.
All right. So I knew taking this debate, I was going to be on the back foot. There's people in chat saying I'm a pedo defender, I'm protecting PDF files, blah, blah, blah. I knew there'd be a lot of that. If that's what you think I'm doing, then you weren't listening. I want the people who knowingly wanted to get with young girls to be hung. Hang them. That's fine. If they're knowingly seeking out underage girls to have sex with, and we find out about that, go after them and hang them. I don't care who they are. The problem is those names won't be in the files that get released. You want those released? How about we release the redacted files that keeps the criminal investigations out of it, and then we keep the ongoing criminal investigations going. We arrest the people, and then we prosecute them. We do it the right way. When you just release this flood of information to the public, the masses are dumb. The masses come up with conspiracy theories, and they believe lies like the Katie Johnson thing, which is totally bogus. It was proven a hoax. The pictures they use of her are a child actress, and the name is made up. So all these hoaxes come out, and then you release these mass flood of files. People don't know how to decipher this stuff, and we get all these conspiracy theories. We get people saying Trump is gay. We get he's blowing Bill Clinton. That's crazy. If you believe that, that's crazy. And I am not trying to defend them. I'm saying they should be prosecuted, but releasing everything to the public is not the answer. And we've been losing our minds about this when there's other more important issues. We don't know yet. It's better to watch and see what happens, and everything. Let things happen, and it'll come to their conclusion, other than being hyper focused on these files that, you know, what's going to be in them. We'll see, because they're going to get released under Trump. Epstein got arrested under Trump. All the allegations made against Trump are garbage. And that was the main thing I wanted to argue, is about Trump's innocence. And all we got is that maybe he knew about it. Maybe he knew something bad was going on, and he didn't say anything. Well, he did something. He got Epstein locked up, potentially got him killed, according to my opponent here. And the Ghislaine prison thing, I think I properly addressed that. If she's snitching, they want to keep her safe. They're going to give her some privileges to make her sing, and that could lead to these guys, these real bad guys, ending up in jail. So that would be a good thing. As far as I know I probably threw some people off when I went with the whole what he calls victim blaming. But I've seen it happen. It's an attack on men. It happens constantly. It happened with Bill Cosby. Why do you think Bill Cosby got released? Girls were coming to his parties and doing drugs, and then he would have sex with them. They knowingly and willingly did what they did, and they don't get in trouble for it. A man gets held accountable for what a girl does because she's under 18. But if a boy does the same a crime under 18, he goes to juvie. She gets a payout, becomes famous, and a guy goes to prison. That's the point I was trying to make, is people blow it out of proportion with the victims. Oh, it's children. Oh, we got to worry about the children. These girls knew what they were doing. They weren't kidnapped. They had every chance to leave, and they went through with it, and they got paid for doing it. They were being prostitutes. They were breaking the law. if that's victim blaming, then so be it. I don't care. But I know I probably threw people off with that one, and I probably lost a lot of people there, but I don't really care. That my point is, we've been so freaked out about the Epstein files for so long. Trump is doing everything he can to get them released. They're coming out. So let's stop whining about it. Let's just watch and see. And I'm not downplaying it. I'm being honest, you know. I'm telling the truth. You're upplaying it. Maybe not you so much, but your side is upplaying it. But hey, thank you, Pet Talks. This was fun. Yeah, I think we found about 100 other topics we could argue about, because I don't agree with you on nothing, buddy.
I appreciate that.
And thank you, Easy, for having it. And that's all I got.
All right. Thank you for that closing statement, and great closing statement from both sides.
I can actually call bullshit. We both agree that Goku's based.
Let's go.
There you go.
Goku's better than Vegeta?
Oh, no. Actually, I'm more of a I'm a Vegeta fan.
See? Another one. That's a good debate topic. Goku versus Vegeta. I like it. But that's gonna wrap up the closing statements there. Okay. Again, I just want to tell you guys in the chat, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, make sure you like the stream, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the debates we host here on Swords of Reason. Like I said, we run all kinds of matches, political debates, cultural debates, social issues, philosophy, religion, random trending topics, video games, literally everything. Okay. If there's a conversation worth clashing over, we put it in the arena. All right.